If you're watching this at 1 a.m., with your phone lighting up the dark and that tight feeling in your chest that you can't even name yet, this story is for you. If you've ever been told to keep the peace, to be the good wife, to swallow it because that's just what women in your family do, sit with me for a minute. My name is Daniela Marquez. I'm 34, born and raised in Tucson, Arizona, and 6 months after my ex-husband moved and his affair partner into our house, before I had even finished packing, I became their landlord. Yeah, I didn't scream. I didn't key his car. I didn't post receipts online. I bought the building. But to understand why that mattered, you have to understand where I come from. In my family, women don't leave. We endure. My abuela used to say, "Una mujer sostiene la casa." A woman holds the house up, not financially, not legally, emotionally, silently, even if the beams are rotting. In our family, you get married before 30. You don't buy property alone because that makes men uncomfortable. You don't embarrass your husband publicly, and you definitely don't walk away from a marriage unless there's blood. So when I married Tyler Whitcomb at 27, my tias cried like I had won something. He was tall, blonde, from a good family on the north side. He worked in commercial construction management. I was building my career in real estate development. Quietly, strategically. I loved structures. I loved contracts. I loved the language of ownership. But I made myself smaller. Because that's what I had seen my mom do. And her mom before her. When Tyler and I bought our first property together, a small 4-unit building near downtown, I was the one who found it. I ran the numbers. I negotiated the price. I handled the inspection. But the deed? In his name. "Babe, it just makes sense," he said, brushing flour off his hands while I cooked dinner. "My credit score's slightly higher. It's cleaner. I told myself it was practical. That was the first thing someone in authority took from me. Not legally, because I agreed, but culturally, emotionally. My contribution erased under the word cleaner. 6 months later, I brought renovation plans to the HOA board. Energy-efficient upgrades, facade improvements, value-add ideas that would raise everyone's property values. I had spent weeks on it. One of the board members, an older man named Richard Holloway, barely glanced at the packet. "These are ambitious," he said, sliding it back across the polished table. "But we prefer to deal directly with the owner." Tyler hadn't even shown up. I remember the smell of stale coffee in that room, the buzzing fluorescent light, my cheeks burning, while Richard smiled like he was being polite. Something I had built, dismissed in 30 seconds. I drove home gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles hurt, and I said nothing, because good wives don't make scenes. Now here's where it twists. About 3 years into our marriage, I started noticing little fractures. Tyler guarding his phone, late site visits, that soft, distracted smile that wasn't for me. One afternoon, I came home early from a closing. The air conditioning hummed. The house smelled like a candle I didn't own, vanilla and something sugary. And there she was, Brooke Halstead, standing barefoot in my kitchen, in my oversized ASU t-shirt, stirring sauce on my stove. She looked younger than me, maybe 26. Long blonde hair, that careful, innocent expression. "Oh," she said, like I had interrupted her. Tyler came down the hallway pulling on a shirt, not even panicked, just annoyed. "We were going to talk," he said. Like it was already decided. If you've ever walked into your own life and realized you were the only one who didn't know it was ending, drop a comment, because that kind of silence, it's deafening. Here's the part that still makes people blink. He didn't wait for me to move out. 2 weeks later, while I was staying at my mom's Tema's house, because tradition says the wife leaves to cool off, Brooke moved in. Neighbors told me, casually, like weather updates, "Oh, I saw a U-Haul outside. You two working things out?" I drove by one evening, just to see. The porch light was on. My lemon tree by the gate had been trimmed. Through the window, I saw Brooke's throw pillows on the couch I had saved for months to buy. I felt something settle inside me then. Not rage. Clarity. You know what I realized? I had done all the invisible labor. I had found the property. I had built the projections. I had connected Tyler with half his contractor network through my contacts, and he thought I would just disappear. Around this time, my cousin Sophia started coming around more. She was 16, big brown eyes, soft-spoken. She'd sit at my mom's kitchen table doing homework while the tias whispered about my situation. The first time she asked me about it, she kept her voice low. "Are you going back?" That's what she wanted to know. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Did he hurt you?" "Are you going back?" Because in our family, that's the only respectable ending. I smiled at her and said, "I don't know yet." But something in her face, it looked like fear. Like she was measuring her own future through mine. That was her first appearance in this story. Quiet. Watching. I filed for divorce. Tyler was smug about it. The building was in his name. The house was technically his family's trust property. I walked away with my car, my clothes, and about $12,000 in savings. My mom cried, not because he cheated, because I was leaving. "Marriage is sacrifice, mija," she said. I wanted to ask, for who? Instead, I took that $12,000 and did the most untraditional thing possible. I bet on myself. For 6 months, I worked like a woman possessed. I took consulting contracts other developers didn't want. I analyzed distressed properties at night. I skipped vacations, dinners, everything. I learned zoning loopholes, tax lien strategies, seller financing structures. I lived in a tiny one-bedroom with peeling linoleum floors that smelled faintly like bleach and old carpet. I ate a lot of rice and beans. I tracked every dollar, quietly, invisibly. No one applauded. No one even noticed. And then one evening, scanning listings, I saw it. The 4-unit building Tyler and I had bought. It was leveraged heavily. He'd refinanced to fund some other project. And he'd missed payments. The lender had initiated foreclosure proceedings. My heart didn't race. It steadied. I called my attorney the next morning. There are moments in life when you realize the board has shifted, when patience turns into positioning. Have you ever had a moment like that, where you suddenly saw the long game? Tell me. I swear, those are the moments that change everything. I structured an LLC, secured private backing from an investor I'd impressed months earlier on a different project, negotiated directly with the bank handling the distressed asset. They didn't care about the history. They cared about numbers. And my numbers were solid. 6 months after Brooke moved into my house, I closed on the building. Clean title. My name alone. Daniela Marquez, managing member. The return happened on a Tuesday afternoon in late October. The desert air was still warm, but there was that hint of fall. Dust and dry leaves and distant mesquite smoke. I wore a simple black blouse, high-waisted cream trousers, and the gold hoops my abuela gave me when I turned 18. Not armor, just myself. I parked across the street first, sat in my car, watched. Brooke's white SUV was in the lot. Tyler's truck crooked as always, like lines didn't apply to him. I got out slowly. The gravel crunched under my heels. I could hear a dog barking somewhere down the block. A lawnmower humming. My building, the stucco looked sun-faded. The balcony railing still needed repainting. I noticed everything. Structural cracks, drainage slope, potential. I unlocked the main exterior utility closet with the master key the bank had handed me that morning. The metal was warm from the sun. Then I walked up the stairs to Unit 3, where they lived. I knocked once. Inside, I heard movement. A muted TV. Then Brooke's voice. "Tyler, can you get that?" Footsteps. The door opened. Tyler froze. He looked exactly the same. Same cologne. Same slightly furrowed brow when confused. "Daniela?" He glanced past me, like maybe someone else was supposed to be here. "Hi, Tyler." Brooke appeared behind him, wrapping a cardigan around herself. She looked smaller than I remembered. "What are you doing here?" she asked, not unkindly. Just startled. I held up a folder. Calm. "I'm here to introduce myself properly." Tyler frowned. "Introduce what?" I closed on the building this morning. Silence. It stretched. Thick. Tangible. He actually laughed. Short. Disbelieving. Closed on, "What are you talking about?" The property went into foreclosure. I purchased it from the bank. As of 9:42 a.m., I am your landlord. Brooke's hand slowly dropped from the edge of her cardigan. Tyler's face shifted through confusion, then irritation. "You can't just—" "I can," I said gently. And I did. I handed him the folder. Inside, the deed, the transfer documents, the formal notice of ownership change, and their new lease agreement, month to month, adjusted to market rate, which was significantly higher than what he'd been paying himself. Brooke whispered, "Oh my God." Tyler's jaw tightened. "You planned this." I met his eyes. Not angry, not triumphant. Yes. The air between us buzzed. "You're being vindictive," he said quietly. "No," I replied. "I'm being strategic." Brooke looked at me then, really looked at me, for the first time, and I saw it. The flicker of understanding. of recalculating. You're raising the rent? She asked. To market value. Effective in 30 days. Or, you're welcome to vacate. I'll be renovating units early next year. Tyler stepped outside, closing the door behind him halfway like he didn't want her to hear. This is low, Danny. Low. The word almost made me smile. What was low, I said softly, was moving her into our home before I'd even packed my clothes. His face flushed. I continued, steady. What was low was letting me sit in HOA meetings alone while you took credit. What was low was assuming I'd crumble. He didn't speak. Cars passed on the street. Somewhere a wind chime clinked. I'm not here to fight, I said. This is business. You, of all people, should understand that. For a second, I saw something I hadn't seen in years. Respect. Angry, unwilling respect. From inside the apartment, Brooke called, Tyler? He didn't answer. I stepped back. You have the documents. My attorney's contact is on the last page. Rent is due to Marquez Property Group starting next month. He looked at the signature line again. My name. Alone. I walked down the stairs slowly. Didn't rush. Didn't look back. Halfway to my car, I heard the apartment door open. Felt their eyes on me. I didn't turn around, because I didn't need to. That night, I went to my mom's house for dinner. Sophia was there, sitting at the table with her college brochures spread out. She looked up when I came in. How did it go? I sat down across from her, smiled. I bought the building. Her eyes widened. The one he lives in? Yes. For a second, the room was silent. My mom froze at the stove. Sophia's face changed. Not confusion, recognition. Like a door had opened in her mind. You don't have to stay where you're disrespected, I told her quietly. Even if everyone expects you to. That was her third appearance. And this time she wasn't afraid. She was inspired. Have you ever realized someone younger is watching how you survive? It's terrifying. And powerful. Tell me if you've felt that. Tyler and Brooke moved out 2 months later. They couldn't afford the new rate. I renovated the units, repainted the stucco a warm desert sand, added black iron railings, planted new citrus trees out front. At the reopening, I held the original brass house key from my old place, the one Tyler never asked for back. I had kept it in a drawer this whole time. For years, that key symbolized a home I tried to hold together alone. Now, it was just metal. I hung it on a small hook inside my new office at the building. Not as a reminder of him, but as proof. I was never just the wife. I was the architect of the foundation. If this story hit something deep in you, if you've ever been underestimated, erased, or told to endure quietly, subscribe to Her Untold Revenge. And share this with a woman who needs to remember that patience isn't weakness. Sometimes it's positioning, and sometimes the calmest move on the board is the one that changes everything.